1 or 2 Thessalonians 2:2. There are 2 days of the Lord, expression that remains to be fulfilled. Number 1, at the end of Daniel's 70 weeks, or at the end of the millennium. Those are 2 times that the day of the Lord has not come in that sense. Also, you got to understand that my outline does not necessarily run with my notes. So my outline does not necessarily run with my notes. I run with what I'm saying, and then it sometimes hits the notes and sometimes it doesn't. Just in case you're wondering why I don't get off track. I know I'm on track with my regular notes. In that day, we'll see this theme throughout Isaiah. The day of the Lord, for instance, what is the flood? The day of the Lord was the flood. It came. It was a wrath of God. Right? Secondly, there was the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. That was the day of the Lord. The invasion of Judah in the reign of Ezra and Hezekiah. It's also talking about Jerusalem under Nebuchadnezzar. It is talking about 70 AD, destruction of Jerusalem. It also talks about the power of Hitler against the Jews. The day of the Lord is approaching, and it is still continuing to be a part of the day of the Lord. A time which He comes to judge the world, and He doesn't do. He judges the world, and He's continued to judging the world. When the Lord will set creation. There's a time the Lord is going to set creation, men, and nature right. There's going to come a time. Isaiah 12:4. Who has that? Isaiah 12:4. Is that on your notes anywhere? Isaiah 12:4. Do I have Psalms 20? Do I have Psalms anywhere in your notes? Did I not put those down anywhere?
68. Psalm 68.
Do you have it?
Psalm 68. Do you have Psalm 68?
I'm on verse 12.
Well, that's on down to verse 14.
I'm not. Huh?
Yeah, 2 Thessalonians 2.
Isaiah 12:4. Is somebody reading it?
You have what?
I have Isaiah 12:4.
Go right ahead.
And in that day shall ye say,
In that day. Go
praise
ahead.
the Lord.
What?
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord in that day.
Call upon His name. Declare His doings among the people. Make mention that His name is exalted.
What happens when Jerry Falwell spoke out and said that it was an act of God? Pat Robertson gets on TV on the 700 Club and says it's an act of God. What happens? What does the world say?
They were furious.
They were furious that they gave God credit for what's happening. God does allow in His providence a lot of things to happen that we don't want to give God credit for. Look at Psalms 21, verse 13. Psalms 20. Let's go to Psalms 21. Charity, why don't you look at Psalms 21, and then Kendra, Psalms 47, and Brooke, Psalms. You have a Bible there, and Psalms 99. So let's look at Psalms 21:13.
Be thou exalted, O Lord, in thine own strength. So will we sing and praise thy power.
Okay, 47:9.
21:13.
Psalms 47, verse 9.
Princes of the people are gathered together, even the people are unto the God of Abraham. For the shields of the earth belong unto God. He is greatly exalted.
99, verse 5.
Exalt the Lord our God and worship at His footstool. He is holy.
Verse 9. I did. 5 and 9. Go read verse 9.
Exalt the Lord our God and worship at His holy hill. The Lord
Exalt the Lord our God and worship at his holy hill. For the Lord our God is holy. That has to be spiritually comprehended. We have a holy God. We have a holy, holy God. The day is in verse 12, Jeremiah chapter 46 and verse 10, Mary. Jeremiah 46 verse 10. It speaks of divine vengeance. The Lord is keeping a record, by the way, of what's happening. Jeremiah chapter 46 verse 10.
For this is the day of the Lord God of hosts, a day of vengeance, that he may avenge him of his adversaries, and the sword shall devour, and it shall be satiated and made drunk with their blood. For the Lord God of hosts hath a sacrifice in the north country by the river of Euphrates.
We don't seem to, as Christians though, we're anticipating his coming. As Christians, we want God to exalt himself to be the king. As Christians, we desire that. We don't live in the days of Isaiah where Judah, the people of Judah were not obeying God. They refused to obey God. And he spoke to them. I'm glad that I don't have to spend my time as a pastor constantly straightening out the church. Lord have mercy, I'm glad I don't have to do that. I'm glad I don't have to come to the church and feel like I got to straighten you out. Whew. Some preachers is all you think they're doing is trying to straighten you out. You begin to wonder, am I all that bad? It's a joy to come to church and express God's holiness and God's glory, and you say amen. I mean, that's the joy, but Isaiah didn't have that privilege. There weren't few people around that really loved the Lord. In that day, in Isaiah's day, that day is coming. And it did come, and it will come. The day of the Lord shall be. Look verses from 12 on through verse 18. Notice what it says. The day of the Lord shall be upon the proud and the lofty. Verse 12. A self-satisfied. And those that are lifted up, the self-sufficient. The day of the Lord shall be upon the proud and the lofty, the self-satisfied and the self-sufficient. Verse 13. It shall be upon the cedar of Lebanon. Men's great building projects. Men's great religious ideas, verse 13, upon the oaks of Bashan. Verse 14, upon the high mountains, governments we put our trust in. We don't need to put our trust in mankind.
That's right.
Well, I'm worrying about Social Security. I don't know who to believe, I have no clue. But I know if I don't have any Social Security, I'm going to be okay, I think. I don't. Maybe I should be more concerned. Verse 14, upon the hill, a little thing in government. Verse 15, upon high towers, local material security we build. The security we think we have, and Jerusalem built walls all the way around them. I mean, if you've ever touched the state of how big these walls were, how many, they could run chariots across the cities. In every case, in every town, in every nation where they built the security in material things, God says, I'm going to blow them away. Well, that's a good Jericho, for instance, right? How did Jericho come down? How did Jericho come down? What did God say? Blow your horn.
Yep.
And they blew the horn, and guess what? The walls come tumbling down. They had nothing to do with it. God was saying, my power is all sufficient. You can build all the walls you want to, and it's going to come down. Verse 15, upon your fenced walls, things we think are safe and secure. Verse 16, upon the ships of Tarshish, making money. Get back a few moments. Verse 17, the loftiness of man, the haughtiness of man. Verse 17, all shall be removed. Idols and replaced with all. Idols will be replaced and removed by God. Look now back. So So God makes a list of things that your security is in. Your security is great buildings, great religious ideas, government, the material security of buildings, things that we think are safe and secure, all the money we're making, the arts, the painting, the music that we think are secure, and the world is putting our security in stock and bonds and gold and silver. And God says, guess what? When they went into Hossein, was that his name? And they went to his palaces. Did you go into on television and go into his palaces and see what he had inside those palaces? So they all came down.
Yep.
I mean, he took nothing with him. Where was he when they found him?
In a hole.
In a hole. Scared half to death. Gosh, people are stupid. Verse 4, so the cedar speaks also of the Assyrians, the oak speaks of the strength. And then verse 14, who read verse 14? Who has Isaiah 14? Isaiah 2:14. Are we back in Isaiah 2:14? Frankie?
And upon all the high mountains, and upon all the hills that are lifted up.
Bill, Psalms 68, verses 15 and 16.
Psalm 68.
Psalm 68. Blessed be the Lord. Blessed be the Lord. Psalm 68, verses 15 and 16.
15 and 16. The hill of God is as the hill of Bashan, and high hill as the hill of Bashan. Why leap ye high hills? This is the hill which God desireth to dwell in. Yea, the Lord will dwell in it forever.
Verse 19. Read verse 19 too.
Read 19, okay. Blessed be the Lord who daily loadeth us with benefits, even the God of our salvation. Shelah.
God does what? Verse 19. God does what?
He
Verse
blesses
19.
us.
What does he do?
He blesses us
How does he bless us in that verse?
with benefits of our salvation.
How often?
Every day.
Daily. Loads us up with his benefits. That's what I preached on Sunday, Romans 8:28. Who are the beneficiary of Romans 28?
Christian.
Christians that what? That love the Lord with all their heart, all their soul, and all their minds. We are beneficiary of God's blessings according to his purpose. Gosh, goodness.
You know, Charles, if we love God, just one little speck of what God loves us, look how much it would be.